I think the effect of the cooling off period on the development of the market is fairly limited. The reason I think that is the case is that some operators will have to wait until they can go onto the market, but we're talking months here. So in the most extreme case, operators will have to wait until the 1st of April next year, and that's when the cooling off period also ends. That would mean that a company applying for a license will have a 12 months delay over the operators that have been allowed onto the market quicker than that. But I think in let's say 3 to 5 years, that effect will have been completely obliterated by market forces. So I think, albeit that it's not ideal from a competitive point of view, the effects are fairly limited.
If you look at it in a 5-year time frame, I'm sure that you will see the strongest players surface. But obviously it's important to be able to strike a first blow, and it's easier to win a market than to have to win back share from competitors. So there's a definite advantage for those who can be there sooner rather than later.
I think advertising is absolutely paramount to the success of the Dutch online gambling market. Advertising plays an important role in channeling consumers from a unregulated offer to the regulated offer. So new entrants that come onto the market have probably not a very good brand recognition. And it's very important to be able to advertise their offering to Dutch consumers, so they know what they can pick, and they know what legal offers are out there. But having said that, on the same time, we should be very careful not to go into the situation that have arisen in Italy and in Spain, and to a lesser extent in Sweden, where the deluge of advertising led to a reaction from politics, basically, leading to a ban of online gambling advertising or to very, very strict restrictions. And that would be really detrimental to the Dutch online gambling market. So that's why I hope that the industry as a whole can come together and come to let's say self-restraint. So the total amount of advertising is not adding up to too much advertising, so we don't cross the line of irritation with Dutch consumers. So what we're pleading for is for the industry to come to a system of volume advertising control in a way to ensure that through self-regulation we can prevent a ban on gambling advertising.
I agree with Peter Paul that advertising is hugely important to the online gaming market, both because of those who have not really tried out online gaming yet and they need to be informed. Advertising is a great way to do that. But also online gaming is very much a market which is volatile and driven by specific bonuses, specific events, and the seasoned players will all be looking at the best deals, the best promotions in order to shop around. So yes, advertising is instrumental to this business. And I do agree that we need to be conservative as an industry in the way that we leverage this technology that we have here today. If people feel that we are chasing them around the internet and then following them and breaking into areas which are privacy sensitive, that's going to be a huge problem. Obviously, we are going to show some restraint from the perspective of Holland Casino. We do not wish to get into a zone where advertising starts to feel uncomfortable to our users. But on the other hand, realistically, in any market in Europe so far where there was no regulation beforehand, we have seen a tsunami of advertising from this branch into the market at market opening. So I don't see a real reason to suspect that it will be any different in the Netherlands currently. unless publishers also take some measures. And I know that some of the publishers are doing this, and I think it's a very wise thing to do. Certain TV groups, for instance, limiting the amount of spot availability within a certain time frame. I think those are things that we really need to look into, because otherwise we might be ruining our own party. I don't see it as a cause for concern. I think the legislation is there to protect people in a proper way. We are there to protect our players in the same way. We know that online gaming is completely harmless for over 96% of the audience. We don't see any reason why we wouldn't want to be very careful with that the remaining 4% who are also instrumental to the survival of our industry at large. So yeah, I don't see any issues. I think it's good that these restrictions are there, and we should mind them.
I actually almost completely agree with Jeroen. I think it's good that the Netherlands has a very thorough consumer protection system in place. I think it's one of the best systems in Europe. The consumer really comes first. So in that sense, the Dutch regulator deserves praise. There are some, let's say, unintended risks built into the system. One of them is the restriction of the types of sports betting that you can offer to the public. One of the very, let's say, widely popular forms of sports betting worldwide are actually restricted or even banned in the Netherlands. I can give an example. In the Netherlands regulations, it's not allowed to offer bets on corners in football, or it's not allowed to offer bets on under 21 games. The reasoning behind it is very commendable because, for instance, for the under 21 games, the thinking is that you need to protect young players against corruption, against match fixing. Of course, we fully agree that you should protect any sporter against match fixing and corruption. But if you ban betting on these types of matches, people will find the bets that they want to get, and they will find them outside the regulatory system in the Netherlands. So they will find them at illegal websites. And the problem is, at illegal websites, match fixing is rampant. There is no monitoring. There is no protection of consumers. So whilst the thinking behind it is commendable and is understandable, it leads to the opposite effect. So we are worried that some of the well-intended measures are leading to less channelization and to less consumer protection. But of course, we don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know how things will pan out. So we will be closely monitoring, and we're also annually researching into the state of the online gambling market in the Netherlands with the online gambling barometer. And if it turns out that measures are going against the reasons we started this whole regulatory program, then we will, of course, help and remind the government that some changes need to be considered.